In Hollywood, strength is not just about muscles or explosive action scenes. I always notice it in a piercing gaze, in each determined step, in performances that send shivers down the spine. These actors live fully with intensity, with determination, and a rare steel spirit. Looking at this list, I am still amazed by the person in the ninth spot, someone who seems to surpass every limit of toughness. Are you ready to explore with me? Robert Mitchum was born on August 6, 1917. I always see him as a young man who survived some of America's toughest days. At just 16, he spent time in a Georgia prison due to troubles with gangs, and he rode freight trains to find a way to survive during the Great Depression. He wasn't chasing adventure, he was simply trying to live. I picture him doing every kind of hard labor, from digging ditches and mining coal to any job that could put food on his plate. Those experiences etched scars on his face and broke his nose, shaping a deep, watchful gaze, not acting, but lived reality. Before Hollywood knew him, Mitchum had lived many lives in one body. When he stepped into the film world, he quickly became an icon, especially known for roles in Out of the Past, Cape Fear, and The Night of the Hunter. I think back to 1948, when he had legal troubles. His career could have ended, but he simply served 60 days in jail and walked out with even greater fame. On screen, I feel the calm of someone who has truly fought, who needs to prove nothing. Mitchum once said about acting, "I have two styles, with horse and without horse," which always makes me smile because he was always himself, never pretending. Colleagues often said working with Mitchum brought a strange tension. Not because he was loud, but because his silence carried weight. Director Edward Dimitri once said, "I don't need to direct Mitchum. I just keep filming and hope he doesn't hurt anyone." I imagine him standing there, yet the gravity of his presence is felt by everyone. This is real power, no words, no acting, just existing, enduring, surviving everything. And through it all, Mitchum left the world an immortal cinematic legacy that, every time I watch his films, I can still feel the breath of a man who lived fully, endured, and conquered life. Charles Bronson was born on November 3, 1921, in Pennsylvania, into a poor coal mining family with 15 children. I often picture young Bronson at just 10 years old, going down into the mines, his body blackened with soot, his back aching after hours underground. His childhood was not just hard, it was brutal, and I feel that those early struggles forged him into a man of rare toughness, both physically and mentally. In 1941, when World War II erupted, Bronson joined the U.S. Air Force. I can see him on a B-29 plane, serving as a tail gunner, flying bombing missions over Japan. Even after being wounded, he completed his duties and was awarded the Purple Heart, a testament to his courage and sacrifice. After the war, I imagine him trying every kind of work to survive: chef, onion picker, part-time boxer. Each job not only kept him alive but built his strength, resilience, and determination. In the early 1950s, Hollywood discovered Bronson. I picture him stepping onto a film set for the first time, taking small roles in Bend of the River and Vera Cruz, yet immediately commanding attention with his presence. He never sought fame, only a paycheck, but directors recognized that Bronson was something extraordinary. His punches on screen carried the weight of a life hardened by struggle, precise and forceful. Jan Michael Vincent, who worked with him, once said that a single scene where Bronson grabbed his shirt left him in awe of his strength. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Bronson became an action icon. I remember his roles in The Magnificent Seven, The Great Escape, and the Death Wish series, where he appeared without pretense or showmanship. No ego, no theatrics, he simply existed, delivering performances with sharpness and power. Every role exuded a raw presence, forged from a lifetime of hardship, making Bronson a true symbol of strength and unwavering determination that I feel every time I watch his films. John Wayne was born on May 26, 1907, in Winterset, Iowa, in a harsh rural environment that shaped him from childhood. I often imagine young Wayne growing up amidst wide fields, where strength and survival were tested every day. At college, he earned a football scholarship to the University of Southern California, continuing to train his body and spirit, learning endurance and how to push beyond limits. Hollywood was not glamorous for him in the beginning. He carried heavy props, helped build sets, and did all the work most actors avoided. I feel that his capacity to endure pain and his toughness quickly became legendary. During the filming of The Alamo in 1960, Wayne broke several ribs performing a dangerous horseback scene. I can picture him wrapping himself up, taking painkillers, and continuing without complaint, fully focused on his work. In 1964, An even greater challenge came when doctors removed a lung and 4 ribs due to cancer. Just months later, he returned to the set of Sons of Katie Elder, performing dangerous stunts as if nothing had happened. I often wonder where his courage and resilience came from, but thinking about these moments, I understand that Wayne was more than an actor, he embodied human strength. Another haunting chapter was filming The Conqueror in 1956 near the Downwind nuclear test site in Utah. I imagine the cast and crew unknowingly exposed to radiation, and later, nearly half of them developed cancer, including Wayne. Yet he never complained or slowed down. When director Henry Hathaway suggested using a stunt double after surgery, Wayne looked him in the eye and said, "Either I do my own stunts, or you hire someone else." I feel the unwavering determination, courage, and spirit of a man who refused to yield. What made John Wayne extraordinary was not his roles or on-screen slogans. It was the real man behind the legend, tested through blood, sweat, and pain. I hear even colleagues and political rivals like Kirk Douglas admired him. They saw a man endure trials that would put most men in hospitals, yet Wayne stood tall, calm, and kept moving forward, leaving a lasting image of a living legend, inspiring and timeless. James Cagney was born on July 17, 1899, and grew up in the tough Lower East Side of Manhattan, where every day was a fight for survival. I picture young Cagney, standing 5 feet 9 inches, needing neither exceptional strength nor height, just the right movements to command a room. Street fights in his youth honed his reflexes, endurance, and a raw authenticity that no acting school could ever teach. Before Hollywood discovered him, Cagney was a professional boxer. I imagine the sharp, explosive precision of his punches, not acting, but real combat experience. Director Raoul Walsh once said, "Cagney could throw a punch better than any actor I ever worked with because he had thrown so many real ones." I feel that Cagney's power was more than fighting skill, it was the perfect blend of martial experience and professional dance training, turning on-screen violence into a forceful, almost artistic dance, both aggressive and graceful, dangerous yet precise. Off-screen, I've heard that Cagney's reputation came not from overpowering others, but from being formidable when provoked. Bob Hope once remarked, "Cagney would knock you out, then help you up and offer you a drink." I imagine his endurance and precision honed over the years into a weapon, tightly controlled yet still dangerous. James Cagney shows me that true strength doesn't lie in size or mass, but in absolute precision and certainty in every movement. I feel the spirit of his words, "I only compete with myself," and I am grateful for winning that fight. Anthony Quinn was born on April 21, 1915, in Chihuahua, Mexico, amid the turbulence of the Mexican Revolution. I often imagine young Quinn fleeing gunfire, watching soldiers march through the streets, a childhood without playgrounds or games, only constant survival. When his family moved to the United States, he grew up in the East Los Angeles slums, where any sign of weakness could be dangerous. By the age of 9, Quinn was already helping his family as a kitchen helper, laborer, and construction worker. I picture the young teen stepping into professional boxing rings, trading real punches for money to support his family. His iconic broken nose stands as proof of these harsh battles. I feel that those years shaped not only his body but also his spirit, forging Anthony into a resilient, strong man ready to face any challenge. In his film career, Quinn continued to display that strength in ways that still amaze me. In Zorba the Greek in 1964, he carried massive logs across the beach alone, a task that would normally require 2 people. At 46, in Guns of Navarone, 1961, I can still picture him climbing dangerous cliffs without a stunt double or safety net, relying solely on his determination and skill. Every action Quinn performed on screen carried the breath of someone who had truly faced real challenges. What impresses me most about Anthony Quinn is not just his physical strength but his ability to combine it with authentic emotion. He could cry on screen, reveal pain and joy, while still convincing the audience that he could take down anyone if needed. I sense that extraordinary contrast, strong yet vulnerable, not taught in acting schools, but forged through a life of hardship. Colleagues and directors noticed it, and audiences did too. Anthony Quinn didn't need to pretend toughness, he simply was himself, a living symbol of strength and humanity, leaving an unforgettable mark on me and millions of viewers. Kirk Douglas was born on December 9, 1916, in Amsterdam, New York, into a poor immigrant family. I often imagine young Douglas growing up in days of scarcity, where meals were never guaranteed and every day brought a new challenge. He worked odd jobs to help his family, and I feel that poverty did not defeat him. Instead, it forged him into a resilient, unyielding man. Douglas earned a college scholarship through wrestling, a grueling sport demanding immense strength and pain tolerance. When World War II broke out, he joined the Navy, serving on vulnerable submarine hunting ships, facing torpedoes and enemy fire. I picture him wounded, discharged in 1944, yet never using it as an excuse. His determination was woven into every step he took. On screen, Kirk Douglas did more than act, he lived every scene. I remember him training with professional fighters for Spartacus, refusing stunt doubles, taking real blows to deliver authenticity. When a dangerous fall caused serious injury, he returned to the set just 48 hours later, continuing with unshakable resolve. I feel that iron spirit, born not from skill alone, but from the essence of the man himself. Douglas's true endurance wasn't just youthful strength. At 70, he survived a helicopter crash that killed 2 people. I imagine his recovery, walking again, continuing an active life. Later, a devastating stroke robbed him of speech. After years of grueling therapy, he regained his voice and wrote a book recounting his experience. I see clearly that true perseverance isn't measured by youthful power, but by relentless recovery and the will to fight life itself. Director Stanley Kubrick once said, "When Kirk decided to do something, it happened." I believe it, not a cinematic miracle, but the essence of a man who never surrendered. Kirk Douglas is a symbol of resilience and courage, a man who commands admiration not only for his film roles but for the extraordinary life he lived. Lee Marvin was born on February 19, 1924, in New York, and long before he became a screen legend, he was a brave Marine, a recipient of the Purple Heart. I often imagine him on the islands of the Pacific, amid the smoke and fire of World War II, where life and death were separated by a single step. During the Battle of Saipan, Marvin was shot in the back, severing his sciatic nerve, leaving him permanently limping, yet nothing could stop him from living, fighting, and giving his all. Those experiences forged Marvin's silent, dangerous, and powerful presence. I feel that when he appeared on screen, it was unlike anything any acting class could teach. Every step, every punch, every glance carried a deep understanding of real violence, ugly, effective, and uncompromising. Audiences didn't need dialogue or special effects to sense the true danger he embodied. In The Dirty Dozen, 1967, I see Marvin as a sergeant, showing leadership and coldness in the face of war. In Point Blank, 1967, he moves like a relentless avenger, precise and deadly. Cat Ballou, 1965, shows his flexibility, mixing humor with an undercurrent of danger, and The Big Red One, 1980, reflects the war memories he carried, turning every scene into a vivid, emotional experience. Real-life experiences made Marvin a distinct actor. I've heard that once in Oregon, he confronted a group of men in a bar, and the next morning returned to the set bruised, without delaying a single shot. Lee Marvin's power did not come from yelling or showmanship, but from absolute calm and quiet confidence. The scars he carried under his shirt were proof of his journey, making every performance vivid, real, and heavy with weight. Lee Marvin would step into a scene and show the world that true danger is not fabricated. I feel his inner strength, forged through war, resilience, and the ability to survive every challenge. Every time he appeared on screen, I saw not just an actor, but the embodiment of courage and real power. Steve McQueen was born on March 24, 1930, in Beech Grove, Indiana, USA. His childhood was far from easy. Abandoned by both parents and raised in reform schools, McQueen quickly learned that to survive, he could only rely on himself. I imagine the 14-year-old boy running away, facing harsh challenges before joining the Marine Corps, where his rebellious yet courageous nature was forged. During training in the Arctic, McQueen saved 5 fellow Marines from drowning in a sinking tank. That daring act, born of instinct and courage, shaped the man he would become for life. Steve McQueen never shied away from danger. I picture him on set, performing most of his own stunts, despite studio objections. In The Great Escape, 1963, he refused a stunt double except for one fence-jumping scene, which the producers forbade. During river and sand scenes, he nearly drowned, and even veteran stunt performers were intimidated by his courage and precision. I can feel that every step, every jump, every explosion carried the weight of determination and true grit. McQueen's off-screen passions, motorcycle and car racing, also showcased his discipline and absolute bravery. I imagine him competing at Sebring in 1970 with a broken leg, or facing real threats from Charles Manson's hit list without hiring bodyguards. Nothing he did was for show. He lived each moment at maximum intensity, each move, each jump, each race infused with focus, precision, and courage. From his Marine Corps days to Hollywood sets, From racetracks to dangerous stunts, Steve McQueen embodied bravery and extraordinary survival. I see clearly that he was more than an actor, he was a symbol of strength, courage, and an unyielding spirit, leaving an unmistakable mark on the history of Hollywood. Charlton Heston was born on October 4, 1923, in Evanston, Illinois, USA. His youth was shaped by military discipline and extraordinary endurance while serving in the Army Air Forces during World War II as a radio operator and aerial gunner. Though he never fought on the front lines, those experiences forged in Heston a rare physical and mental resilience, qualities that later became the foundation of his powerful and commanding presence on screen. I picture Heston on Hollywood sets, a man who had faced war yet carried the energy and determination of a true warrior. In the Ten Commandments, he carried massive stone tablets, straining his shoulders and back with every take, yet I never heard him complain or ask for lighter props. During the greatest story ever told, he tore a shoulder ligament performing a dangerous scene, but simply wrapped it and continued filming the same day. Audiences saw only authority and courage, never the pain and fatigue he endured. Heston's endurance was tested even further during The Conqueror, filmed near a nuclear testing site in Utah. Among 220 participants, nearly half developed cancer, including him. After diagnosis and surgery to remove a lung, Heston continued performing physically demanding roles, leaving even younger, stronger actors struggling. I sense that what drove him was never fame or ego, but an unwavering sense of responsibility, to the work, to the audience, and to himself. From prophets to mighty warriors, Heston brought true strength, conviction, and resilience to the screen with every gesture and glance. I see that Charlton Heston's power was not just in muscle, but in willpower, endurance, and the ability to overcome every challenge. Every scene he appeared in stands as a testament to perseverance, courage, and an unyielding spirit. Audie Murphy was born in 1925 in Texas, USA. His childhood was surrounded by poverty and hardship, but those struggles forged an incredible fighting spirit. When World War II erupted, Murphy volunteered to serve. At just 19, he became a living legend. I imagine him standing on a battlefield, a small young man holding off an entire German company for over an hour on a burning tank, wounded and out of ammunition. By his 21st birthday, he had already received 28 medals and honors, destroyed tanks, assaulted machine gun nests, and kept fighting while most of his comrades had fallen. What strikes me is that Murphy didn't look like a soldier. At enlistment, he was only 5 feet 5 inches and 100 pounds, resembling more a high school student than a war machine. Yet beneath that gentle appearance lay extraordinary lethality. When Hollywood discovered him on the cover of Life magazine, security guards on set couldn't believe this young man was the legendary Audie Murphy. In the film To Hell and Back, based on his real-life experience, producers had to downplay his combat achievements because audiences would have thought it unbelievable. War left deep psychological scars. Murphy struggled with severe PTSD, sleeping with a gun under his pillow and enduring relentless flashbacks. His wife once said, "In those nightmares, he wasn't Audie anymore. He was someone I didn't recognize." Yet, he maintained astonishing self-control. I remember one confrontation where a businessman's anger triggered an immediate transformation in Murphy, and everyone present could sense the dangerous presence he carried. Murphy never wanted to play the hero of war. He loved comedies and westerns, yet every time he appeared on screen, I could feel a profound, quiet strength, a silent message. This man has faced what you cannot imagine, and survived. That was Audie Murphy, a soldier, a legend, and a man whose inner strength transcended history, living on in the memory of all who knew his story. If you think today's celebrities are impressive, remember that real strength looked very different once. It lived in calloused hands, in every step on Depression-era streets, on World War battlefields, and through harsh challenges that these men faced before Hollywood cameras. Their endurance, patience, and courage were not just acting, they were a life forged moment by moment. Subscribe to uncover more untold stories, to see the men who turned the silver screen into a living testament of true strength and resilience.